Okay, great. Hello, everyone. So it is a great pleasure to be here and present my work today. So my name is Nico. I'm from Stevens Institute of Technology. I'm only job market this year. So today I'm going to present a working paper that looks at how the use of platform-wise machine learning-based anti-vandalism bots affect online community governance. So open collaboration communities such as Wikipedia have fundamentally changed how knowledge is created, distributed, and consumed by providing knowledge that is freely accessible and freely to make changes. Open collaboration can utilize different knowledge and expertise from massive people, or in other words, harness the wisdom of the crowd. However, the exact openness and the unauthorized freedom to contribute make this community vulnerable to various online antisocial behaviors such as vandalism, bullying, spamming, and widespread misinformation. So because the community's purpose is to produce knowledge, all those antisocial behavior are called vandalism in Wikipedia context. For example, here we find someone called actor Charlie Singh, a half-man in his Wikipedia page. And formally, vandalism is defined as an edit that is non-value adding, offensive, or destructive. And the vandals are those users who make vandalism edits. Vandalism in Wikipedia can be roughly break into three categories: large-scale editing, graffiti, and misinformation. So here are the very typical example of these three types of vandalism. Large-scale editing seeks to remove a large portion of the page content or simply blank the page, whereas the graffiti type of vandalism usually posts unrelated or toxic claims, and the misinformation type of vandalism will only make tiny but misleading changes to the original content. And the complexity of this vandalism increase in this order because it usually requires much longer time for people to spot misinformation type of vandalism than large-scale editing. And recently, more and more community turn to the autonomous machine solution for content moderation by building algorithms and bots to automatically identify malicious content. So in Wikipedia, once a bot detects a possible vandalism edit, it will revert the vandalism edit, then post a warning message on the user talk page. Based on how the bot was designed, it can be separated into rule-based bots and machine learning-based bots. So rule-based bots are building on predefined rules and conditions, such as filtering content with keywords. So previous research found that the use of bots help improve user compliance. Moreover, by delegating moderating tasks to bots, human moderators are less likely to feel burnout and thus are more willing to participate. And learning machines, by contrast, are machines that use machine learning method to learn new rules from the training data set. For example, in the machine learning-based anti-vandalism bot, CrewBot-NG, was trained using a large data set labeled by humans, and the use of both information regarding the editors, as well as the textual feature regarding his or her edits, to produce a probability that his or her edits is vandalism. So comparing with rule-based bots, the learning bots are highly effective. For example, the CrewBot-NG can detect about 40% of vandalism on the site, whereas its rule-based predecessor could only detect about 5% of vandalism. And second, because the bots use heterogeneous cues, it also has a very low false positive rate comparing with rule-based bot. So in theory, community should view learning bot as a net improvement over rule-based bot. However, due to the fact that many machine learning algorithms generate nonlinear decision boundary, Even the people who create the bot cannot fully understand why the bot performs certain action. The low interpretability feature poses challenges to online community governance. So open collaboration community often operates on well-defined rules that are widely acknowledged by their members. However, because the bot's internal rules are opaque to human, it is difficult for the bot operators to explain how the bot will perform their task, thus making it difficult to gain community trust. And the second tension lies between the quality and the over-policing. So on the one hand, community need this bot to maintain the quality of its content. On the other hand, the use of a very powerful machine introduces the risk of over-policy, especially for those, especially for when the bot generates a false positive case. So consider if your good intention edits are misidentified as vandalism and referred to by the bot, it will certainly discourage your further participation. While the bot can augment the productivity of some workers, they can substitute the work done by others, especially for those human editors who share the same role with bots. So in this research, we asked two research questions. So first is compare with rule-based bots. How would the adoption of learning bots affect online community governance? And the second will be, what are the unintended effects of this learning bot? Because the bot is created to fighting vandalism, we are interested in its impact on two governance outcomes. So the community's vulnerability to vandal attempt and the community's effectiveness to fighting vandal. So to answer this question, we took advantage of an actual experiment happening on Wikipedia. So in November 2010, the English Wikipedia launched one of its first and only machine learning-based anti-vandalism bot, GroupBot-NG. However, the bot only operates in only English version, but not only French version, thus creating a unique opportunity for us to study the impact of learning machine at community level using DID setting. So in this study, we use English Wikipedia as the treated group and the French Wikipedia as the control group. So after the bot's adoption, the English Wikipedia is overall governed by the machine learning-based bot. However, before the treatment period in English Wikipedia and throughout the whole observation period, both of these wiki are governed by multiple rule-based bots. So to get the data for our analysis, we first retrieve 314 articles that are identified as most vandalized page on English Wikipedia. For each article, we find its French version. Then we extract over 78,000 vandal attempts and use a machine learning model to classify them into one of the three categories: large-scale editing, graffiti, and misinformation. Finally, we construct a 12-year panel at article year level for our empirical analysis. So our two dependent variables are vulnerability and the effectiveness, where the vulnerability measure is defined as the number of vandal attempts in an article I at year T, and the effective measure is defined as the median value of time to revert in article I at year T. We also control for a set of time variant control variables and use two-way fixed effect to control for the unobserved article heterogeneity and time trend. So we use a standard DID, log level DID specification in which the interaction train is the variable of interest. So first, let's see some model-free evidence. Here we plot the trend of the vulnerability and its relative time to the bot's adoption. We see that the number of vandal attempts in both wiki decrease over time, but the English wiki has a steeper slope. When we look at the community's response time, we find that the English Wikipedia time to revert, communities overall time to revert, vandalism drastically decreased after the bot's adoption. Here, the OLS estimation of our empirical model, we found that compared with rule-based bots, the adoption of learning bots reduced about 30% of vandalism attempt on the site. And regarding the community's effectiveness of finding vandals, we found the adoption of the bot reduced the community's overall response time by 85%. However, we also found the human editor's response time increase after the bot's adoption, and this effect is very strong, like more than 300%. So we're asking, why did human response time increase? Then we conduct a post hoc qualitative analysis regarding discussion around the bot. We found that three mechanisms could possibly contribute to the increased human response time. So similar to other online antisocial behavior, vandals can also learn and attack in novel way. And in some extreme case, they will deliberately test the bot's capacity in order to bypass its detection. So when we're looking at how the bots affect the use of different type of vandalism, we find that the use of bots will lead to increased use in more sophisticated type of vandalism, specifically a 12% increase in graffiti and a 7% increase in misinformation type of vandalism. And this result confirms the adversarial learning of online antisocial behavior, which has been identified in previous study. And second, we found the increased human response time also relate to the community's negotiation regarding the bot. So due to the bot's limited interpretability, the false positive it generates could be especially harmful for the community's new editors. So in order to avoid this extremely negative effect, the community's member negotiate to deliberately set the bot's performance to a level lower than its optimal capacity, leaving more subtle borderline cases for human editors to investigate. So the increased human response time could be caused by that now human editors are now investigating more complex vandalism cases. However, when we plot out the human response time across different types of vandalism, we find that the time required for humans to refer to a vandal attempt increase across all kinds of categories. So there must be some other factor that also play a role here. This leads to our third mechanism. So we find that the human moderators are indeed demotivated by the bot because they find the bot is so effective and they feel they are less needed for the task. So this could possibly lead to two situations. The first one is now less people will working on a task. And the second will be every person reduce their efforts on moderating tasks. So here we show the bot's effect on the number of distinct human editors, as well as the average referred per humans. So when found that despite the bot increase the average referred per person, it will reduce up more than 60% of human moderators working on a task. So this result contradicts previous finding that delegating machines improve human moderators' participation. So here we come to the conclusion. We find that overall, the learning machine are more effective than rule-based bots, but it also introduced some unintended consequences, including the increased use of more subtle vandal attempts such as graffiti and misinformation. And they also increase human response time by more than 3-fold. And this is largely because it will reduce the human moderator workforce working on a task. So in the long run, the community become more susceptible to subtle attacks that only human can currently identify. Okay, that's my presentation. Thank you.